Welcome back, ladies and gents. Allincrypto here, and today we've got a pretty jam-packed Hedera Hashgraph HBAR video lined up for you. Of course, you'll all be well aware by now that Donald Trump has came out and reaffirmed, re-announced, restated that the US is going to enable a crypto reserve. This has been backed up by David Sachs, and there was 5 cryptos and the suggestion that other valuable cryptos were going to be added to this US crypto strategic reserve, essentially announced. And those 5 cryptos were Cardano, Solana, XRP, obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's almost like you forgot about that and had to announce them. And then other valuable cryptocurrencies. And it is my belief that Hedera is going to find its way into a US crypto reserve. I think it's in that kind of pole position. I think at the moment there's a lot of market cap that's kind of going on there. And just to remind people, because we haven't actually covered this in a Hedera video since we last did one, Hedera is now in that number 12 position. It went from 50th, and we've been covering it since it was essentially outside the top 100. It went from the top 50 to, at one point it was 11, today it's 12. It's sort of battling with Chainlink. You can see Chainlink at 10.4 billion and Hedera at 10.3, essentially 10.4. But if you exclude stablecoins being USDT and USDC, Hedera's already in the top 10. So I think that's a great sign. We also had Coinbase's kind of MAGA index actually add Hedera recently. I do think Hedera stands a damn good chance of actually being put into that reserve and announced, and there's more announcements to come. We've also got, and David Sachs was talking about this, things to come off the back end of Friday's summit. It's going to be very interesting to see who attends that. Of course, we know in regards to the crypto bull, you had Mance, you had Greg Bell, you had a number of people from the Hedera team there. So I'm not worried about that in the slightest. Do I know for definite? No, but I think it's quite probable. What I want to do before we dive into some price action, and I'm going to be showing you guys 15 charts that did exactly what Hedera did today and then went on to higher ground. And we're really specialists in breaking the markets down as an investor into 4 phases. And we ultimately, through that, get a better understanding of what the markets are going to do next, through understanding that markets move cyclically and tend to repeat this kind of 4-phase pattern, which we'll be talking about. We've been talking about it a lot. We'll be reinstating it, kind of introducing it, or introducing it for anybody that's unfamiliar, and showing you 15 charts that look just like Hedera, or did look just like Hedera, and all went onto higher ground and made their price targets. So do stay up to date for that. But to kind of cap off on the kind of US strategic reserve for Hedera, I want to play you guys a clip from the Wolf of All Streets, who is Scott. Oh, can't remember his second name. It's not Besant. That's, of course, the new SEC chair. Mill something. Good guy to follow, actually. Or Melker. Here it is. It's actually on the screen. He interviewed Mark Yusko, and they actually spoke about the fact that, I'll play the clip, and then what we'll do is we'll dive into some price action, of course, where Hedera currently is, why it's textbook. We told you it was going to bounce where it has bounced. And despite the negative price action right now, do not fear, Allincrypto is here. You've got this really broad phase 2 ahead of us, and we'll be sort of reintroducing that and reinstating all of that. So let's dive into this clip, and then we'll continue.
Trump is doing through this entity that he owns, and it's really his son, but because I don't think Donald really understands this stuff, is buying a bunch of crypto, Bitcoin and Hedera and XRP.
A bunch of things that might be approved for ETFs next year.
Shocking how that works.
Just ETFs, and we've kept you up to date on, we've now had the 19B for Hedera, but also the crypto reserve. Even though it wasn't specifically mentioned thus far, and we're over the moon for the coins that were, we hold a lot of those coins. I think it will be, and I think there's Mark Yusko. Although there's no kind of confirmation, I don't think that World Liberty Fi, which is the entities on there, has actually bought Hedera, and you can see what kind of ERC20 tokens they have bought. So let's talk about Hedera from a price point of view. Now, you guys all know the plan. Just to quickly reiterate this, because it's going to become very relevant in regards to predicting where Hedera is about to go. We look at the market through the context of phase analysis. It's really a continuation that I've developed and I teach with my group and more broadly on YouTube of what Stan Weinstein did with his stage analysis. what Wyckoff did with his market cycles. Everyone knows about accumulate and distribute, but there's 4 kind of phases to that. There's a markup and a markdown, making it a 4-phase kind of cycle. And markets will move in this kind of ebb and flow. Just like Bitcoin with its 4-year cycle, more broadly markets will move like that. There's liquidity cycles, there's election cycles, there's all these things that kind of bake into it, economic cycles, that ultimately make the markets look like they do. And I believe that Hedera has just gone through what I'd look at as a phase 1, which is an accumulative phase, and has broken out at this point here on volume, which is very important on a breakdown. You don't particularly need to see it. In fact, that's why it can be breaking down. But this volume confirmed the breakout. And it's very common when you transition from a phase 1 into phase 2, so a base into now an uptrend, that you'll break out and then you'll retest. You'll get that second chance. You'll retest from whence you came, the area of which you broke out and you were held as resistance whilst forming that accumulative range. And then that's when the real bulk of the phase 2 actually takes place. And if you look at what Hedera is doing today, we said it would bounce that kind of 18 cents mark. It's all public on YouTube. Do follow us on Twitter also for some more sort of timely updates. And since we've sort of bounced here, you know, we ultimately believe that this is really initiating and confirming phase 2. And we've got this broad uptrend ahead of us. We also have a technical target to, depending on what exchange you use, you know, this is KuCoin. If you use, of course, Binance, it's giving you 96, others are 92, 94. You're looking to head to that sort of 90 plus cent range for Hedera in regards to this double bottom pattern. And we also know that gives us confidence in regards to what phase we now think Hedera is in and where that means it's going. And what I want to do to kind of give people a little bit of confidence in regard to that, and remember, don't buy or sell anything. It doesn't benefit me if you guys buy Hedera in the slightest. It doesn't benefit me if you sell it. It doesn't benefit if you do anything with it. Make your own minds up. Take us on board in regards to what we're saying, and use it as an opinion to perhaps weigh up against your own, or to consider in regards to your journey in the cryptocurrency space. That's all this really is. It's not investment advice. I don't care whether you buy or sell Hedera. It doesn't benefit me at all. One thing I do know is the people that have done very well thus far. And I've got an entire group of people that haven't just done well on Hedera, have done well on multiple other cryptocurrencies out there. So we are bouncing now. I want to show you some examples now. I'm going to show you 15 in total. And the first one that I'm going to show you, remember, markets move in this kind of wave-like fashion, like the schematic dictates we have on the screen. But this was, it's Pitney Bowens, I think so. Pitney Bowes, yep, incorporated. You can see very much double bottom, nice rounded right butt cheek. You get that breakout, that retest, and then that continuation. And we'll put the 30 weekly moving average on. I like to use the 30 weekly moving average. I'm not perhaps the biggest fan of, I don't like moving average traders. They don't really do much for me. I think it's too simple and there's a lot of nuance that can come with it. But I like to use the 30 weekly moving average. Anyway, it's not coming up, so we're not going to use it. But this was a great example of, Hedera is really just here to go back. And we've got that broad continuation or that phase 2 ahead of us. And again, this technical target was met. And I gave all these by the way, using the exact same method that I'm using to predict where Hedera Hashgraph is going. We've got our firm holdings, another great example. You can see real breakout on volume, retest, declining volume, and then a kind of surge up again, and then target met. Again, look at where Hedera is today. Firm holdings was a great example. We've got American super corporate or superconductor corporation. Again, what do we have? We have this was more like an inverse head and shoulders. We got a break of that, running you into its first target, a retest, and then that broad phase continuation. This is essentially the journey Hedera has ahead of it. We've got Alchemy Technology, I believe this is. Yes, it is. Again, phase 1 base, accumulation, breakout, small retest, and then broad continuation. Hedera very much has that ahead of it, in my opinion. Robinhood, this is more of a range-based bottom, but still very compliant in regards to how we look at markets. This is your sort of phase 1 accumulation, breakout to target, retest, and continuation. This is what Hedera has ahead of it, ladies and gentlemen. Ignore the short-term price action and focus on the bigger market structure. This is BRFS, breakout, double retest, broad continuation. Phase 1 into phase 2, and continuation in that. And that's what Hedera has ahead of it. We've got HubSpot. HubSpot's been a great one for us. We've even got the phases mapped out here. I've been showing this quite a bit. Phase 1 base, inverse head and shoulders, target met perfectly here. Pullback, almost like a double retest, and then continuation. And that's really what Hedera has ahead of it. We've got, of course, Bitcoin, and we called this all publicly using the exact same methods we're looking for Hedera. Phase 1 base, breakout, double retest, broad phase 2 continuation. That's on the cards for Hedera Hashgraph, ladies and gentlemen. Despite the crappy price action that we're seeing today, markets are very volatile. I think there's some institutional shenanigans going on. This is, of course, IoT. It's Samsara, I believe these guys are. Yes, Samsara. Breakout, double retest, broad phase 2, and of course, you made your target on the way. And that's ultimately what you're looking at here. Then we've got Cloudflare. These guys have been absolutely killing it, actually. They're everywhere. Bit of a sort of triple bottom, sort of inverse head and shoulders. Breakout, retest, continuation, target met. This is what Hedera has ahead of it. And we've, of course, got Spotify. This is a great example of phase analysis playing out. And this was something we called, along with being long the S&P 500, et cetera, et cetera. But you can see this kind of inverse head and shoulders here. Breakout, retest, continuation into new all-time highs. That's the journey Hedera is about to embark on. We've had the breakout. We've had the retest. Continuation is afoot, ladies and gentlemen. Here we've got the New York Times Company. We're ultimately a specialist in studying how markets move cyclically and being an investor on the back end of that. I do trade, but not particularly the cryptocurrency markets, more the broader markets, because I find trying to predict short-term price action, which is why I don't do it for the crypto space, and actually profit from that, is a lot harder than many people think. And if you don't believe it is, then by all means go and give it a go. And I think you'll probably come to a similar conclusion. And how I approach the markets is for an investment mindset. And ultimately, I think that gives people the easiest time in these markets that can be very trying. And a lot of people have got sort of really whacked with the kind of movements that we've seen recently, and that's been the case for a while. Anyway, New York Times Company, breakout, double retest, continuation, target met. Hedera very much has this ahead of it. Then we've got Synchrony Financial, sort of range, get your breakout into phase 2. No real retest on that, but I'm just showing you sort of cyclically how markets move. A lot of these do have retests like the S&P 500. Phase 1 accumulation, breakout, retest, broad continuation. I think the S&P 500 is going higher. And this is potentially, Hedera's got this big, long, pronounced uptrend ahead of it. And then, of course, we've got the DAX. You can see phase 1, breakout, retest, double retest, continuation. This is the route that you have ahead of you for Hedera, ladies and gentlemen. I'm confident on that. My money's where my mouth is. This is not financial advice or anything of the sorts. Again, I want to reiterate that. I don't care whether you buy or sell Hedera. It doesn't do me anything. We've never taken any payment to cover Hedera, ever. That's not to say that we wouldn't. Of course we would. We'd love to work with Hedera in some sort of a media coverage manner or aspect. We truly cover Hedera freely because we think it's a truly amazing and transformational distributed ledger that actually is now starting to regain or gain its rightful place in the market as a top 10. I think eventually top 5. It is a top 10 if you exclude stablecoins, and we've got this really bright future ahead of us. Hello future is, of course, the Hedera slogan. So that's it from me, guys. Want to maybe touch, I think some people would be disappointed about the whole Trump not announcing Hedera. It seemed like a likely candidate. I think it will be. We'll see what happens at the summit on Friday. But from a price point of view, nothing's really changed. And the plan that we've laid out prior is actually just playing out. And we've got the next part of that, which is real phase 2 continuation. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Have a magical Monday. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.